The first thing that I'm going to talk about, the shop. If you're more PvP carried rather than bypass/defense, you'll usually want to buy an iron sword first. 100 gold allows you to 7-hit people in iron because majority of people buy iron, but if you're better PvP wise, iron sword's just better than armor in my opinion. If you focus more on bypassing, need to be able to tank more hits, especially from bow shots, since well-timed arrows can technically 4-shot a chain player, you'd buy iron armor first. Usually, I don't recommend getting it first, just because it really does not make a big difference later in the game, especially when people have swords. That said, versus some types of players, iron armor does still make more sense than an iron sword just because of the sheer difference in arrow damage. 9 arrows for iron armor versus a potential 4 to kill chain armor. Also, for people playing defense, the optimal defense for CTF that's both block efficient and actually does its job is just a normal box with a ring around it, and then you want to cover up the top two. The top is usually the last thing you cover because if people are grabbing it from the top, you can either hit them into the defense, they'll struggle to build out, or they'll just have a hard time to even pick up the flag in general if they're like controller or mobile, because you have to be more precise with your aim when trying to pick up flag from the top by hitting it. But as for team upgrades, usually on most maps, the only upgrades you're going to ever go for is they're like not counting flag curse. Is air upgrade if the enemy team is hard defending. That way you can actually break into their defenses a lot easier, and it's more resource management than if you just buy TNT to keep blowing up the blocks. And absorption, because absorption is a game changer in fights right after you respawn, and it adds up a lot, especially when your whole team has the 2 extra absorption hearts. If you are a defense main, which is usually only relevant in non-pub 5v5s, non-pub 6v6s, block upgrade is a godsend because you can just make it really painful for the enemy team to try and get into your defense, especially in actual scrims because TNT is banned in scrims. Fast respawn is something you will never get in competitive games, or even just any game realistically. It's 350 gold without free shop, just is not worth its price tag. And it doesn't even do a lot, even if you have a full team respawning constantly, it just does not make any sort of noticeable difference. Should honestly be 250 gold or do a much bigger reduction to the respawn timer. Now for the routes on this map. This map is the main scrim map, Ashram. A lot of people go for like bridging ahead in this first part, just rushing straight forward, and then they'll usually go to one of the 2 sides, depending on where the enemy players are or how they're playing. I usually opt for left side because it has better options for going into the base. There's also this really cool spot which you can just like camp in, get a kill if someone's trying to aggro you. Though if you have like really high ping or bad hit registration, this spot's usually not great. Especially because if you start clicking on these, your aim will get like locked in place if you're actually fighting someone. But yeah, then there's this little parkour, you could always just go up the stairs as well. Going in here, you get a little head hitter boost to pick up flag. You usually either go up here or go down below. And like if you go down below, if you have high CPS, just block that off. And yeah, that's the main route for rushing, and when you're escaping, whichever route you take, you never want to go down the middle because you can just get bowed off easily. Usually you'd go down the side, or if you're being chased or about to be cut off, you can usually just come to this hard side right here. This spot is one of the most underrated spots in the entire map. You can hit people off here. Most people play really paranoid, won't try to aggro rush, so even if you can't hit them off, you can usually stall here waiting for your teammates to help you. that if you do go to this spot, it's like really sketchy trying to get back because you either have to go on that parkour or take this side here, which will usually have people cutting you off from over there, over here, just like from all the way across. If you go there, you kind of always need teammate help. Now for... And for my rushing route on this map, depending on the game... Okay, I just messed. Depending on the game, you usually just want to go down the... If you go down this parkour down in the middle, most people don't take the parkour, they just bridge. You can usually just run past along here, one of these sides, go up the stairs, then after that you just rush normally like you would if you bridged above. And if you're going for a really fast rush, if you're against like a bad team or like people that aren't really running back trying to defend, going down the bottom and taking this parkour is technically the fastest route on this map, assuming you do head hitters the whole way through, since usually you'd be taking the bridges, using all your blocks on that rather than using head hitters for speed boosts. But it's a really high reward path because it's really easy to just get bowed off, and if you're doing head hitters, you usually won't have a lot of blocks to clutch on the parkour. And even if you do, sometimes you'll just keep getting bow spammed. Okay, so Altara now. I already brought up the like most basic of basics, so from now on it's just going to be the routes for different maps. If you spawn either really far on the side here or in the back row, I tend to just go for this route because it's a lot easier to mess up like I just did there. Usually you use a slight height from the sea pickle to jump all the way to the window. Then you can either go up top there, or you can jump through the window, come right here, and then just jump off here, go this route normally, which is the faster route, but going up top, you can hit this second jump pad to take a route nobody takes and just get like a really easy bypass rush. But yeah, usually you'd go here. Sometimes if you're playing in a non-competitive game, this spot is really great for just block trapping teammates and just being funny. But yeah, then from here, so few people actually go through that window for some reason. They just go around the door completely, but yeah, then pick up flag. The return route's just the normal jump pad route on this map that a lot of people used to use before they realized teleporters were on this map. So you just go up here, jump pad. Sometimes you get short launched, but you can tell really early when you're about to get short launched. You just do a hard 180 and you'll land here like way before the void. Or if you have good reaction time, you can just like try to clutch it and do that instead. But usually I just go for the 180 unless I'm being chased and desperately need the extra ground. But yeah, then usually in games you'd have your teammates building a bridge to that platform for the return route. If not, you can just But yeah, that's just the main rushing route for this map. For the other routes that are like nobody really takes, or like for trying to return back. Oh, by the way, usually you want to make sure you have a bunch of blocks and arrows before you start putting all your coins into speed berries. Armor is optional depending on who you're fighting against, or just depending on playstyle difference, but yeah. Yeah, like there's this route over here to the far side that like nobody ever takes because it's super slow, but if you take it, you're like never going to be cut off, you're just going to get a free bypass. It's said, there's also a funny reason to get people over here to this route. If they don't have blocks, this water does not damage you on this map. You can block off the vines here, and then they just cannot get out. They're stuck forever till a teammate helps them. Almost no one actually good at the game will fall for it, but it is technically there if you're trying to troll and be annoying really early game before people have an abundance of blocks. And even though the teleporter is here, because it's first rush and how slow this is, usually nobody will actually be here at the teleporter to cut you off. That's why I say it's usually a really easy bypass. Yeah, you usually want to go up here, and if you have blocks, you just bridge across. For campsite, the main route is the teleporter out of the side. If you spawn in the front, it's faster to go out the front and just do head hitters. Like you can head hitter off the trees, go like that. If you spawn it both in the back, like if you spawn in either of these three spots, it's faster to go out the front. If you spawn here or here, it is very marginally faster to go out this side over here and just take this route. Yeah, this is the main rush route that almost everyone uses. If you're in a comp game, don't be surprised if people are trying to camp teleporters to hit you out. Usually I wait here a few seconds after getting the teleporter before going through to teleporter camp versus anyone that does go through, and then just go through if no one has come through, because by then it'll likely be safe. Yeah, then you just keep running all the way over to their flag. I am not good with making head hitters anymore because I just don't do it much outside of Unearth. But yeah, head hitter there, pick up flag. Usually you run right up this middle thing rather than either of the side routes and go over this fence post, which, fun little tech by the way if you're being chased by someone when you go over this. If you crouch and place a block mid-fall, and they try to follow you over the fence post, they just won't be able to chase you. This launch pad's really inconsistent. Sometimes it'll launch you like all the way onto the tree, which if you're being chased, it can be a really good idea to just sit there until teammates get there to help you. If not, just like keep running normally, get back over to your flag area. But I forgot to cover the flag holder spot on Ashram, or not Ashram, but I forgot to cover it on both Altara and Ashram, but pretty much everyone knows Ashram's spot by this point. If not, just ask somebody. It's really simplistic. And Altara's is literally just on the roof above the flag thing, or on the trapdoors above the spawn area, depending on how comp the game you're in is and what stage of the game it is. Yeah, then the same route you took to run back with flag on this map, by the way, is also a good route to rush from if you're trying to not get cut off or like trying to bypass, because nobody ever defends the jump pad route, but the jump pad route's also just a bit slower for rushing. In like 6v6s, you'd usually want to split up your rush, either with at least one person going jump pad. I recommend 2 people going jump pad, but yeah. Now for the flag holder spot on this map, it's literally just on top of the roof. That said, I recommend if you have the coins to get the blocks, you definitely want to just go and connect all of these, depending on how many blocks you have, how many coins you have. Okay, yeah, I messed that up. That's me being skill issued, but yeah, depending on how many blocks and excess coins you have, so I recommend, and depending on if you're trying to bow whoever's rushing you off bridges, or if you're just trying to run in a circle, there's reasons to make the bridges too wide so you can't get bowed off as easily. But yeah, then this one's weird because of the spot being above build limit. You can either bridge off of this slab here, or you can technically crouch off of either of these places here. But yeah, you just want to connect these things like full circle, give yourself room to run around in, and if you can get your teammates to buy arrow upgrade, that's really good for this. So you can spleef anyone trying to chase you around the circle with speed berries. But yeah, then in pubs you can also block glitch really high up on these trees, which is just one of the best things to do in competitive pub games. But in scrims, glitch spots like this are obviously banned. So yeah, just do not do it in actual scrims. But yeah, I'll just finish connecting the trees. Show you just show the main way it would look once you connect it. This side, you usually connect it by the tree rather than the thing. You can build all the way across here, or you can just go up, have the thing here, because you want to be able to be full circle, but it just doesn't really matter that much how. But yeah, this is just the main way to be flag holder on this map. Literally just run full circle, hope you have enough blocks for it, and yeah. Okay, now Empire. This map has a really straightforward rush. Some people, for some weird reason, bridge off of these stairs, which does actually help just to be annoying like mid-late game because it just messes up the terrain. This map's like super flat, so it's really heavy bow spam play styles on this map, so any terrain mess ups is great. But yeah, the main rush on this map, people go down to that teleporter. They literally just run straight forward, sometimes head hitter off of the thing to there, and just jump over the ledge to that teleporter. Going to actually, I'll just reset my position, show the exact rush. But yeah, let's say I spawn here. The main rush I go for, because it's ever so slightly faster if you don't, depending on the enemy team, is just this. You just go up here, this teleporter here, because you get the staircase momentum, it is a lot faster than rushing there, bridging across. That said, because this is the main rush people do, you also have a good chance of just being cut off and like hit. Like usually by the time you get to about here is when the other two people come through this teleporter. Sometimes you can just run through. People don't expect you to be here trying to rush this route. Sometimes you just get 2v1, 3v1 right out of the teleporter, can't do much. It's really high risk, high reward, but it does give you faster times, and when you're going against complete randoms in pubs, it's definitely worth doing that route. But yeah, once you pick up flag, the normal return is just if you're trying to be more cautious, I usually take this route that people have already built when rushing, that bridge, and then just, okay, I messed it up, but usually you'd place one block off there, one here, one here, one there, one here, and just wall run across here. Because anyone chasing you is usually going to fail either the parkour or fail to place properly to keep chasing this way. And then from this bridge here, you can either run over to this side if your teammates are here. You can usually, because the teleporter that people rush from is there, usually you run to this side and either go up this really side parkour route, or you can do this to just keep going over people if enemies jump down to get you there. But yeah, this map's just really not a great map for trying to get out with flags because of it being the teleporters being the way they are. This is more a grind map that you do when you know you easily just outskill the enemy team. So literally grinding, fighting randoms. Then the main map, when you're grinding, you literally just run through the path that's all the way down middle. The path blocks are right there. As for flag holder spots on this map, there is none. There literally just is none. This map is probably the worst map in the game for being flag holder. Your best option is just towering up, building a base here, like just somewhere in the middle of the room, and hoping that you can have teammates actually get your flag back quickly, or that you have teammates actually defending you properly. But I also recommend just blocking off these paths, these like really side paths. So when teammates are trying to kill the rushers, that is a really weird world guard choice. Wait, what? Okay, that is really weird. But yeah, so when teammates are trying to kill anyone rushing, trying to aggro you, kill you, especially post-curse, having these side routes blocked off or obstructed so they have a harder time circling around and running is definitely a good option to do. And then these really far back routes, you don't need to like heavily block them off. I do recommend putting just a single strip so it is a bit harder for people to properly circle around. Not a game-changing difference, but every little bit helps on this map. This map's probably one of the worst ones for competitive gameplay if I've ever seen one. Like even Rift or Maul is probably better for like flag holding and like overall competitiveness, albeit this map still beats it out for 6v6s just because of the size difference. Okay, now for Lago. This map, I am doing the Winterfest variant because it is literally the same map, except for one change I just wanted to point out that, yeah, first things first, the main rush. Usually the best way to rush on this map is divide and conquer. Part of the team rushes to the teleporter at the front, part of the team rushes to the side teleporter. This side teleporter is like the main rush people go for. That divide and conquer, the rushes are about the same. The divide and conquer strategy is literally just to make it easier to guarantee flag pickup and potentially getting out with flag. But yeah, the rush is really simple. When you pick up flag, usually this side is the better side to go out of. That because there is this wall run route that people will usually not chase you to, and if they do, you can just like bow or hit them back. And if you're being cut off from the front, you can just go to the side area, which is like which is just a really out of the way area. It's going to be hard to be cut off on, assuming you're actually smart with your routing. The teleporter is that the enemy team will usually come from is right over there, so you take this weird diagonal route to get back to base. But yeah, you just capture like that. But another really weird running route that's not the most useful but can confuse people sometimes is here. This is a really flat area. It's easy to wall run on, but I clearly am not good at that anymore. And just, yeah, if you don't fall in the water, sometimes it gives you enough of a time saver to get the regen in, because people can't, if you stay down low on it, because of the walls, people will not be hitting you up here. You can just wall run and then come off at this weird angle. You can either try and fight people up here while you have low ground advantage. Over here, well, they have head hitter, but you still also have low ground. Or just like anywhere along this area, you have low ground, which is huge. Or you can just run and rush through this teleporter. If you're being chased, just hold S after going through and teleporter camp. Yeah, then this is a side route that you can also rush through. That usually it's used for like trying to cut people off when they're running on this side. But yeah. Then as for alternative routes when you're running to get out with flag, this route here, really easy to just block off behind you, but you want to do it at the lower down areas because of this window. If you block it off up here, people can just go through this window right here, cut you off still, and then you're just stuck here in a forced trade where you either get comboed because you were taken by surprise, or you have to pray for last hit. But yeah, then if you're being chased by people with speed, going to there, placing one block, or if you just hit the jump perfectly, hitting the ice directly, this spot's really good because you can just like camp it with a bow. You can like block people off when they try to jump onto this platform. You can just keep running. Sometimes you can, if you're in VC, you can have your teammates come through here to help you. Or you can just like take this route over here, which is just the same route that I showed earlier, but mirrored because it's the other side of the map. So like you're doing that same route but in reverse, and just, yeah, that's about it for the routing areas of the map. Okay, now for the flag holders. Now for the way to be flag holder on this map. On normal Lago, there's usually a little drop down area here that gives you more cover, more protection. On Winter Lago here, the spot's still like a bit worth it just because it gives you a backboard as well as you're closer to the spawn area. You can jump down, drop in where your teammates are respawning if you're about to die. You can, yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just an all-around good spot to be at. And yeah, some people opt for just skybasing out here in the center. Also works decently. Some people opt for skybasing over here. Definitely works out decently, especially since you can like get up here a little bit above build limit, especially on this tree here. And this spot has a parkour route. So technically speaking, it would be legal in scrims regardless of how you get up to that spot. So like you could just block glitch your way up here and it's still legal because there is an existing parkour route, making it technically legit. And yeah, these berry bushes here. This is the one change that actually affects gameplay significantly on this map and is just really annoying. There's berry bushes on this little side thing too, on the top, on the bottom there. If you get caught in a berry bush, basically the same principle as being webbed, you're just likely dead since it's a 7-hit kill mode. But yeah. Then the last sky base spot that some people go for, usually this is a temporary base when you're running, and rather than like a permanent sky base due to its distance from the flag. Yeah, people will go over here because it being in this weird spot makes it really safe, really reliable, and it has like I showed earlier, it has this weird wall run route where you can either, if I can hit a wall run for the life of me, where you can usually you place a block here, then go around up here like that. If they actually realize what you're doing, you can just like go, you can just like you can just go. I was gonna say start bridging off of that, but yeah, I am not good with with anglings and movement because it's a lot more strict than it was in 1.18 when I mained this. But yeah, that's basically everything to know about Lago and Winter Lago because all the seasonal variants have essentially the same strategies except for Winter Ashram, which I have a different video showcasing this flag holder spot on that. But yeah. Okay, now Lunala. This is one of the off-meta maps. The main way to rush on this map is through this teleporter. You just keep going straight from the direction it puts you in, then you can make it a little bit faster doing a head hitter off there. Going through this window and head hittering is slightly faster than going around like most people do. Same with going above this at an angle, pick up flag. You just run back. Usually it's a lot safer to go up these ladders, but if you have too many people chasing you, you'd be hit off. You can also just go to the side area. Either or works. Going up the ladders, you just go along this bridge. You usually place a block at a diagonal, go this way. And if you're just going straight, you just rush straight forward here to the staircase. Just because being on the high ground on this map is just insane for running and stalling. If you're sometimes people try to cut you off from here, you can just block them off like that. And because of the way the stairs are and position versus the guardrails, that when you're just running, you go this route and just jump down, get to your flag, and that's that. Now the same route you take to return with flag is also an alternative rushing route. If you're trying to go for a pure bypass, since most people will just go purely for the teleporter to get the faster rush by a long shot. That another thing that I like to do sometimes because the main meta on this map is what it is. This spot right here. This spot is really good for camping. You can backstab whoever has the flag. And if they don't go up the ladder to take this route, you can literally just camp here for when they're about to go up these stairs. And if that happens, this is void. If you could get a void kill, instant return. So you can usually do that. And if you hit and if they have like a group of people with them, this is a lot more reliable for getting the flag to actually return because it's an instant return rather than killing one of them, their teammate picks it up and either runs or kills you after. But yeah, Lunala is a much more straightforward map than the others in terms of routes. And for the skybase spots, there's two main ones. One is safer but farther away from flag, so it can be unoptimal if you're trying to actually capture. But yeah. This map has an actually reasonable height limit, so you can just like build up here. And this is a pretty safe, pretty good skybase spot, just building around these towers. Usually you go double wide, so you can't get like spleefed off easily when you're going in a circle. And because there's these head hitters here, and the fact you can build here, someone trying to chase you in the circle, you can just like block off, potentially spleef, and you can just move a lot faster in the circle because of the barriers being there the way they are. As for skybase spot number 2, that is a lot more reliable, but also just not as great because of its distance from the flag. You literally just block off these stairs behind you with like a couple layers thick. Block off the part of this platform too. And yeah, you just go over. Don't fall. You just go over here, build a platform on off the top of this pillar, and you're set. There's also not gonna show you because it's not allowed, and I honestly don't want to give away my spot completely. There are a lot of glitches that involve going up, block glitching into that tree. There's a bunch of routes that give you to a lot of really cool out-of-bounds spots. So Mall, this map is almost never going to be used for competitive gameplay, but I'm just trying to cover every map in this. One of the biggest things I urge more people to start doing, block off these corners of the map, or of the glass, because if you didn't know, if someone's rushing and dies on these corners, a teammate can pick it up through the wall. So it just makes sense to close off those corners, make it so that can't happen. But yeah, now for the main rush route on this map. This map is not symmetrical. If you're on blue team, you rush from this side. If you're on red team, you rush from this side of your base. And the shops aren't symmetrical either. But yeah, you just normally head hitter rush on this map. Some people do a straight line of head hitters. Some people go off of each of these pillars. You always go through the arcade here when you're rushing, unless you're trying to bypass, in which case you could go around. That said, you can also pillar up on top of these machines in the arcade, and usually people either can't aim or don't try to aim at you, and you can bypass through the arcade route still. Yeah, then you just run into their base, pick up flag, and from here you can either go this route, which is this route's like one of the least recommended, especially going through this way because you can easily get cut off. But dropping down here can actually have some value because even though they can drop to cut you off, if you can get to the staircase and block off behind you, you can usually gain a lot of distance to keep running. But yeah, then if you're trying to actually PvP versus people you either can't usually take in a fight, or like if you need to fight while holding flag, like 1v1, actually want a chance to beat someone that's like bow spams, has speed berry difference, this room here is one of the best rooms in the game to try and fight at if you do get to it. And if not, pretty much any of these like side stores that just have a lot of the custom blocks and terrain are just good for fighting in. That one, this, like pretty much all of them are just good for fighting in because they're heavily textured. It's just these like cafe restaurant areas that are just not great for fighting because even though they're textured in a way that just kind of ruins PvP. Because they're either not textured enough in the spots you're fighting at or are too textured, low ground oriented, position oriented. But yeah. Now for the main skybase spots on this map, you can either go to up to this purple spot here, which is usually the safer spot. It is better, has a bit more texturing in the roof. Or you could go up to this yellow spot here, which is definitely not safer, but does let you bow spam a bit better because you have the less texturing, less slabs in your way, and just, yeah. This map just really isn't great for flag holder, especially post berry nerf. if you're desperate and trying to get away, you can just try to go through here, block off behind you. There's also one on this side as well, but yeah, that's about it there is for Maul. Really basic, really straightforward map. Honestly, not good for competitive fights, or for competitive games, but it is fast for grinding, so. Now, everyone's favorite hard defense, hard camp map, Oryx. The main rush, you just go to whichever side of the base you spawned closest to, and you just rush out from the front. Some people go down that route, some people bridge a... I don't know why I'm messing up everything I try to do in this every time, but yeah. Some people just bridge across like this. You can just go over that like this, go up the stairs. You can either camp the launch pad if you're trying to defend the incoming rush, or just go to the jump pad if you're the one trying to rush. Usually it's safer to go over to the side parkour with the bones, just because less people, less chance of getting cut off. But yeah, then if you're being chased from this way, you would usually go either down that hole. There's a jump pad down there, so you have to be at the very ledge, or go into their base, back down this hole, and out this far side area. You can either take this parkour, don't recommend if people are actually chasing though, because it's just a death sentence, or you can go out this far side, which is probably the most underused running route on this map. But yeah, you can either go up the stairs, like pretty much any direction on this map, any route you can take that isn't on the jump pad is an underused, it's an underused part of the map. Nobody ever goes to it. Few people actually chase through it. They usually just cut you off when you're actually back to the main routes of the map. But yeah, that's really it. There's not much to Oryx routes, other than the fact that most of the routes in the game aren't used, so you don't even have to really optimize or worry about them. As for flag holding on this map, you can either just stay huddled up back in the spawn area. You can build in parts of the spawn area, so you have like quickest access to teammate help whenever they're respawning. But honestly, if you ask me, that's not the most worth it, considering how low down you still are and the weird world guard. Though I guess you can technically parkour along top of these shops, which do kind of give you a little bit of an advantage when trying to be like stall out, be annoying. But yeah. The main thing people do, Oryx is known for being a hard defense map. You usually block off all of the entrances to the base, so like people are slow getting in. Usually you'd have teammates killing or helping by the time they do get even remotely close. Usually you'd also have block upgrade, like one person buys a bunch of blocks to do it, or like, no, depending on team size, it's one or two people buy a bunch of blocks to do it. One person just saves most of their gold for block upgrade, and then you just literally block off everything, play this game like a nuisance, be annoying. Like, these are all the areas you block off. I'm not gonna like fully block them off, just point out the areas. But yeah. This is the main jump. This jump pad and that one are the main two you want to block off first because they're the most used. Then the front staircase there. Okay, the order you want to block things off: this small gap because a little bit blocks this jump pad, that staircase, this jump pad, this staircase, that jump pad. And then if you want to be really extra, it's far from needed, but really extra. You can block off both of these things so people can't like go in, sneak, and build up to like jump you from behind. But yeah, that's Oryx. Paradise time. This map really only has two ways you rush. Either you get to the chair first, where you can launch the middle, or you just jump down and rush through the middle. Because the side routes aren't even really worth it for bypassing, because just the way they function, the way this map is. They're really only for running out once you have flag. But yeah, when you're rushing, you just go to this cave here in the bottom, jump pad, and that's that. You can also like run if you're desperate. You can run far to the side. There's like a little path up that you take. You get to this little small area and just go up through here. This is like really easy to block off behind you. Usually better for running away when you pick up flag versus actually trying to use it to rush, especially this like little 2x2 entrance. But yeah, if there's nobody competitive in the game, you just rush through middle the same way you would if you didn't get chair first rush. If you are being chased, if you are in a competitive game, just rush to the side route. Literally nobody knows how to like properly aggro or chase once you get to this parkour area. And even if they bow, because Hive has it where you can place off barrels without shifting, you can just clutch on pretty much anything but the lily pads. That's kind of so okay. Me being skill issued again, but yeah, you can clutch off of pretty much anything but the lily pads if you actually get hit. So I recommend just stay on the like actual blocks. Don't even go on the lily pads. And just return to base through this little side cave. Like the side areas of this map are so well designed, well planned out that nobody ever uses them. But fun fact, there is also this area where you can technically go out of the map without any. Once you go to a certain point without any issues. They did think about out of the map because you can just bridge far out on this map. But yeah, like until you get to right there, you can just be here, no issues. You can just like I don't think this. Yeah, okay, never mind. The water does steal damage. But yeah, you can just like sit over here. People won't be able to really bow you. And because there are barriers here, people can't just go and they'll block up over them. Because there's ladders here, you can also just like go up here, block it. Oh, I thought there was a world card there, but or just like you can get up here. But yeah, really not a great map. But yeah, there's also just going through here. I'm pretty sure you can build all the way up here if you really wanted to. I don't think this is used for like any actual. Okay. I don't think this is used for like anything ever. I mean, I barely played this map as well. I just kind of explored it in like spectator a bit. But yeah, there's no use to going up there other than hiding. But yeah, you just go into this village area, go into this house up here, and you just get back to your base. There's also this. There's literally the same thing on the other side, but like mirrored, so you take the route in like the opposite order structures. But as for skybasing on this map, usually you just like, or like not just skybasing, but flag holding in general. Usually you just go back into this back area here. It's like, it's just really stupid broken because because of what the height limit is. You can just bow people off. They're trying to get to you, and just yeah. This map is all around good for stalling and being annoying, but it's one of the worst to actually play on than actually play normally. So yeah. Pirate's Paradise. Hey, Prismaris now. This map is probably one of the most underrated maps for like small team comp, like 3v3s and 4v4s. It has a lot of routes. You can jump down here, go this route, up. You can either go up that staircase, but I don't see why you would, or you can go to this staircase, which is like really weird. It takes you to the side area where you can hit her off of to get a speed boost. Usually you go up these stairs for the jump pad that's up here because it's just like if you go to eat any route on that side of the map, you go to that jump pad up there, drop down, pick up flag. Then you can go up this route too, but when returning is when I use this route the most because you can really easily just block yourself off on this staircase. Or there is this little jump pad that like almost no one ever actually uses to basically do the staircase route but faster. But you can't block off this jump pad for obvious reasons. It would be like stupid broken if you could. But yeah. Then running back, you literally just take the same route, go up to the jump pad. If you're trying to pure bypass, you can go just full this side from your base and just go through this library, jump down, then just go all the way from this side over to their base. You can go out of the map like over here technically, it's just like, it's really weird trying to do it. Did they patch? They might have patched this spot. I did do this spot against a helper at one point. Like, actually against a helper way back when. But, okay, yeah, the spot's patched. There was a couple barriers that were missing there. But, yeah, you just go through here. This spot's a really good room to fight in because of all the because of these trap doors. If you angle yourself right, you just mess up bow carries trying to function, because when they click on the bow, they'll just tick the trap door. But yeah, then so like this room here is another really good room to fight in my opinion, because the trap doors, all the blocks that like you would interact with on a right click, are just in this room, so it's really good for fighting bow carries. But yeah, this map just has a lot of routes. I showed the main rushing routes for like bypass rushing and normal rushing. As for skybasing spots, this map is pretty good for skybasing. You can either do it inside of your base by just going to this little ledge around here, or you can just literally run around in circles. If you want to get really fancy, you can sort of like connect it with like bridges all the way across. Like you get the picture. Or there is this tree here. Because of this map being the way it is, and trees being the way they are in Hive, this spot is a really good spot to just go and skybase in. Block these parts off a little bit. You have barriers. You have a lot of barriers here shielding you, and you can just skybase up here. This is because of that launch pad. People can also bridge to this tree really easily from the like main rush route. That said, it is still really easy to hold them back and bow them because of like barriers here, being able to block off here, and so on. Yeah, that's Prismaris. Really good map. Really underrated in my opinion, though. Because definitely too textured for like large team competitive games. Prosperity Time. This is one of the most overhated, underrated maps in the game for large team comp, in my opinion. This map's really large, has a lot of routes, has a lot of texture with the vegetation, leaves, buildings, just everything about it. It's also really big, which is why it doesn't function with small teams, but in like 5v5, 6v6, 7v7, and so on, it definitely works really well. There's 3 main rush routes. One is just literally holding W all the way through, going through mid. You get to the enemy team side of the map with the little like path staircase. You can either bridge from this bridge all the way across, or like go in at a weird angle to go up the actual path normally. There is a jump pad on this side of the map, or on this side. It sort of just like launches you to middle. It's basically the same route, just like slightly off to the side. The jump pad lets you regain the ground that you lost by taking this route rather than a straight line, and just lets you be slightly off to the side to go for a bypass. But then, alternatively, there is also a much better jump pad to this side that not a lot of people even really know about. Because not a lot of people play the map. This just launches you super far, like across a big part of the map. You can either go up that trail and around, or you can go in this cave, which has a jump pad to go all the way up. There's also like another entrance to this cave over there, gets you to the same jump pad, same spot. It's usually used for bypassing if you rush through middle, but yeah. This map just really textured. That the jump pads are really cool. It's a really wide map, so it's really good for like keeping your position unknown when you're holding flag, because the emblem from flag only shows from a certain distance away. Yes, when you pick up flag, I recommend going to the jump pad that's all the way over here to just like completely cross the map, because it's a really safe route. I don't know if they fixed this or not, but if not, you can also block off the jump pad when you get here, which is just really busted, because it means you just can't be chased. Okay, never mind, they did fix it. But either way, once you get to the jump pad, you can like block off this bridge behind you really easily if people are chasing. In that cave, you can sort of block people off because of the slabs that exist, like the slab paths. If you go up this side path all the way over here, there's another bridge that you can just like block off really easily. Just this route, going to that jump pad and taking any of the routes on that side of the map is honestly just one of the safest. This vine route's also really good for like being annoying, because you can go on the jump pad, people will follow you expecting you to turn, but for some reason this one just does not launch you properly if you run into it like that. So it can just actually have a use. Going over this thing when rushing, by the way, is good, like enemy base when you're actually rushing. But another route you can take, like assume this is me picking up enemy flag. Another route you can take that's like high risk, high reward. You can just go down in this well because the vines like stun you for a second. You can sometimes get caught on it and just be bullied there by being hit while you're stunned. But if you go through that water stream, you can block it off behind you. And because people are usually stuck in the swimming animation unless they take the time to go to this block specifically, they'll mine this really slowly, or if they're like fully underwater, try to bow up. The bow, like the hive drop off, and combined with water physics, will just like, it's high risk, high reward because it basically guarantees you get away from whoever's chasing you. But you can also get stunned in place with the vines. But yeah, then you just run through any of these paths normally, however you would when you're running. As for skybase spots on this map does not have a lot of good legal skybase spots. It's mostly a glitch map because for whenever you're sniping, where like there's no real rules. But yeah, literally just being by any of these trees is just good for skybasing because a lot of these trees have barriers on them everywhere, because I used to snipe helper parties while using these trees to glitch out of the map. So just a lot of this map has barriers that makes for really good skybase spots normally now because of them patching my glitches. But yeah, like literally just blocking off this entire making an entire platform here is good for skybasing. This tree, because of the vines, you can actually, because of the vines in this tree, you can technically, okay, never mind, they did patch this one as well. But yeah, this tree used to be good, but literally any of these spots just have a lot of barriers because I would camp and be annoying with them while sniping staff. So literally just skybase near any of these trees so you have barrier walls protecting you from like at least one direction. And if you really want to get fancy with it, you can literally just bridge all the way across, connect the trees, but that's kind of overkill. It's just, yeah, that's prosperity. Should honestly be used more as a map. Just really wish people would see it's an actually good map. Okay, Rift time. This is one of the worst maps in the game for comp, but it's a really good grind map, and it's really good for being annoying, just not trying to like snipe and actually win. When you're rushing, you either rush to this side or this side, depending on where you spawn. If you spawn this side of the spawn room, you rush this side. If you spawn middle, it's pure preference which way you go. If you spawn this side of the room, you rush from this side. Usually, and this spot is technically the, like, whichever spot it is that you spawn this right side, the front right side, is the most optimal rush on this map by a marginal amount if you do it perfectly. The main rush from this side is you head hitter off here, go here, go up the stairs. Usually you don't want to get clipped on it. Block over this wall, hit the jump pad, and that's slightly faster than any of the other routes to leave your base. And you just rush like this normally. Then, because usually the enemy wouldn't have a bridge here, you go like that to bridge all the way across. My partner, to keep the CS open while I yap, kind of ruined the rush there, but usually you just bridge like that across, pick up flag, and then when you leave base, this is just like the only good option to take when you're running, unless you know for a fact you have help from multiple teammates. But yeah. You just kind of run back normally like this. If your teammates didn't build a bridge here, you can do the same bridge I did on that side, or if you don't have the block, just do that. Yeah, then as for skybase spots on this map, there is not a lot of them. Most people just DIY skybase anywhere in this area over here, like literally any region out here. If you're trying to go for safety above actually being able to capture reliably, you can literally just go over to this side area. Out here, there's a spot that's like you're not, because of the distance, you're not going to be able to cap quickly if you get your flag back. But this spot is technically legal in competitive games. It's above build limit, so really easy to bow people back without them just like clutching and being annoying. And yeah, this spot's the main skybase spot for pure survivability rather than being able to actually like capture. So that's the Rift. Not a great map, but it is kind of nice with the rushes, in my opinion. The Solarscape time. This map's just like an all-around good map. There's a few routes. You can go all the way to the far side. There's a teleporter over there, which is like, this route can be really disorienting because of the position the teleporter is and like just the way the map's structured. But when you go through the teleporter, you rush to the right of where it teleports you to get to enemy base. I used to always think you had to rush left, and like until I had like 3 games on this map. But yeah. You can either go up you can either go up that route, or you can just go up this route over here. This route here is usually the better one for actually getting through without being seen properly. Pick up flag. Usually I opt for going into the cave all the way over here, unless I know I have teammates helping me from the front. Because this cave, you can usually like put people back into the water. There's just, because Hive has it where you can place off of like barrels, solar panels, those things without needing to crouch. Just going to this far side is usually a lot better for trying to get out. But it's also a lot slower of a return rush than if you did it normally, so yeah. That's just kind of the main route that I use on this map. You can also just rush straight through the center, you just follow the paths and roads, and one little part of the map that's like really good for running out of a base from, going inside this dome, dropping down here. This is also a good, if you're trying to bypass, like say there's people defending there and you're trying to bypass, going into this cave and going up here is also really good. Some people don't know how Solarscape's layout is. Some people don't even know that dome has a little drop down area. So you can sometimes just get a bypass, like a clean bypass out of it. As for skybase spots on this map, you can either try to block off the like stairs here, like block off the ladder here. But this map just is not great for flag holder. If they increase the build limit height by 2 blocks on this map, it would be a really good flag holder spot because you could do so much more. But yeah, right now it's just not that great. You can like come out here on the front, you can camp back in here. You can actually like run down here if someone's going up the stairs. Some people also opt for skybasing on this dome, but this dome leaves you really open for like arrow fire and things. It's like not that high up, kind of. It's really easy for people to rush you from multiple sides, so you don't have much chance to run. I just don't recommend dome basing. But yeah, this house it has a lot of exit routes. Just a common mistake I've made, and I've seen a couple other people make, is thinking that because these are custom blocks and the way they look, that they wouldn't count as like things that would block you off from jumping. But yeah, you cannot jump on them, and because these crops here, you cannot place blocks either. You can technically, like, I don't know if it still works or if the timing is stricter, but you used to be able to, like, break a crop, place a ghost block, jump off the ghost block, and then, like, it's really strict timing, but, and I clearly cannot do it right now, but, yeah, you just do not want to go up here. If you have to run out here for some reason, you want to go through here, block off behind you. But yeah, this map overall probably 4 out of 10 for skybasing. Like, it's doable, but not great. and trying to flag hold without skybasing is kind of just not a good idea anymore because of the fact berries don't work with flag. Okay, so Unearth time. Pretty much everyone knows the main routes on this map. This is like the most seen, most popular map of CTF. So all I'm doing with this is to show you the proper way to skybase on this map, because this map is really good for skybasing, despite what you'd think. Like, usually I start off my skybase building like a main platform here. Usually you like bridge out you usually bridge out, connect it to here, like give yourself a clear-cut path to like drop down on the flag once you get yours back. But then after you have like that main platform set up, you block people off from, like, make it harder for people to get to you properly by just blocking off this entire route here behind you. People can still build over it, but you can bow spam them stupid easily like that. And by blocking it off, usually if you have competent teammates, they usually kill the enemy before they can actually get to you. Then once you have this main part blocked off, you sort of build. Okay, you don't do that. I kind of just messed up everything I tried to do when recording for some reason. But yeah, you just don't fall off. But you build you basically build guardrails around your thing. Because most people build up on that side, since there's a little ledge, I like to build this with a gap here in between it, so like you could potentially hit them down off you if you have to. But yeah, you just build guardrails around the majority of the sky base, and yeah, this works a lot better with block upgrade, but it is definitely not needed unless the enemy team buys arrow upgrade. Then once you have guardrails on the main base, you kind of just extend this out, then guardrail on it. Usually I only leave one of these end blocks actually open, so enemy team can't build a pillar up and then use this own exit here skybase against you very well. But yeah, that's the Unearth skybase. It's more of a sky mansion than anything, and most people do not know how to build a skybase on this map properly.